let's get into the best suburbs of the Northern Beaches to invest in. And it's an interesting thing to do because it's quite hard because it's obviously quite an expensive area of Sydney. And it's hard to make numbers work, but in some of these suburbs, they definitely do work. And the first suburb I'm going to mention is DY. Now, a lot of people who have lived in the beaches for a long time or know the beaches quite well for quite a while don't like DY because historically speaking, it was kind of known as the ghetto of the Northern Beaches. And it's basically because there was quite a bit of public housing in DY back in the day. A lot of that has been sold off now. Mind you, a lot of that was in Narrowena as well, but almost all of it has been sold off. There is still a little bit of it, but not very much. But DY occupies a very beautiful pocket of the Northern Beaches. You can see just here, just the overhead of the DY point and then back into the DY town centre. Look, it's mostly units on that eastern part. Don't get me wrong, on the eastern side of Pittwater Road. But you're still picking up DY for, $2.5 to $3 million, which is pretty good considering North Kirkle occupies a similar pocket, but is about $4 to $4.4 million. So it is very cheap compared to its neighbouring compatriot, and it's a lot cheap, and it's cheaper than Collaroy as well, which is further away and doesn't have the same things as DY. But for those that don't know, look, DY as well is really the second CBD of the Northern Beaches. So you'll see here just in the bottom left corner, that is what the CBD looks like, and it's only going to become more developed in the future. Look, at the moment, it's mostly as well in DY, it's mostly apartments and semi-detached townhouses. You'll see houses only make up about 15% of the suburb, which is crazy for somewhere in Northern Beaches, historically a very low density area, but it just shows you how scarce the land is. And that's going to become even more scarce in the future because DYs are part of the Chris Minns Labor government's actual transport-orientated program and the actual future development program, where a lot of it's actually, that is even low density, is going to become actual medium to higher density. So that actual land value is even going to become more valuable because the actual, should I say, people in government in land value will make it go further and further, and you'll get developers that will actually want to start buying here as well, which already do. So that's another reason why DY is so expensive. And I find places in DY, some for even, low $2 million. I've seen them right down to about 2.2 to 2.4, and you'll get, above 3% yield, sometimes 3.2% yield, which is really good, especially in a suburb that does about 9.5% long-term growth. So it's a very good suburb to buy in saying that as well. Let's get into the next suburb, and that suburb is Balgowlah. So look, Balgowlah is a suburb that's on one of the main should I say, transport lines of the Northern Beaches. It's right between basically the Spit Bridge and Manly. It's right on that actual Sydney road there. And you do have pockets of Balgowlah that have beautiful views like this, right down to sort of Manly and the harbour, particularly the northern part of the harbour as well. But the reason Balgowlah is so good is, first of all, obviously it's very well located. It's near very expensive suburbs being Fairlight, Manly and Balgowlah Heights there. Also Seaforth, they're all like $4 million suburbs, and Balgowlah's about 2.8 to 3 at the moment. And the thing about Balgowlah is, alike to DY, as you'll see here, it's actually going to be a part of the state government's future infrastructure plan. You can see here, Balgowlah Town Centre is all of that yellow is basically where it's going to be high density. The small part in the centre of that is basically the town centre that has the sort of dark navy blue, should I say, lines around it. But the rest of it there is just fantastic. And that is all going to be very much so in demand right through to Fairlight, and then you got Manly as well. So that land is going to be extremely valuable and extremely scarce in the future as well. So that's the reason why I'd say, Balgowlah is one of the best suburbs to buy in the Northern Beaches. I've seen properties here, right down to literally about $2.5 million, around 3% yield to 3.2 as well, which is really good. So you can't really go wrong buying somewhere like Balgowlah. Let's finish this episode with the last suburb. I'm actually making it 2 suburbs because it's a particular part I'm talking about here. In terms of the Northern Beaches to invest, and that is Narrowena and the eastern half of Cromer. So, look, I've previously discussed how DY is already the second CBD of the Northern Beaches, but you're going to see that basically what's going to happen here is because of the state government planning, it's going to become even more developed in the future. And there's no doubt about that. It's already actually passed the actual legislative council from memory. So that is definitely going to happen. And Narrowena and the eastern half of Cromer are right on the boundary of where DY basically the higher density is going to be. So what you'll find is it'll be the first two suburbs close to the second CBD of the Northern Beaches, similar to probably like Fairlight or somewhere like that, or Balgowlah, which are very expensive comparative to Manly, where you'll find that the people that want to live in detached houses will start to move to Narrowena and the eastern part of Cromer who don't want to live in apartments in DY but be within close proximity to them. So that's what's going to happen. And you'll see just here, I've split screened it. So first of all, you've got the future. This is a cartoon infrastructure plan of DY CBD. So you can see just what it's going to look like there. That's just from a cartoonist artist doing it. So that's what that's going to look like in the future. And the bottom one is what it looks like today. So you can already see there, it looks kind of like a CBD center. I'm telling you that's going to at least double in the future. And the first two suburbs are going to be low density. The next to that are going to be Narrowena and the eastern part of Cromer. And that's where it's going to be quite expensive. I would not be surprised if in a couple of years time, that part of them are both worth around $3 million. So that's basically what I think they're going to be worth. Look, they're both at the moment sort of in the low twos, about 2 to 2.3 million, depending on where you look in the suburb. I mean, I've picked up properties here with literally 3 to 3.5% yield. I've even found one that's a lot higher before. They are quite rare, but they're still good to buy. And I mean, the land value of this is going to go through the roof in the future because of where it is and how scarce the land's going to be. So it's definitely a suburb to consider in that as well.